Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan, and I am the man with a cartoon obsession. In case you couldn't tell by now, I like to make lists. That's actually my favorite kind of video to make. The only problem with that is you eventually run out of ideas when making list videos. I have not done that yet, since I've only made 3 list videos on this channel so far, and they all revolved around roughly the same thing. For this list, though, I'm going to be tackling a little bit of a different topic. I'm going to be counting down my top 10 favorite episodes from a specific series. That series is none other than Adventure Time. Now, I wouldn't say Adventure Time is my favorite cartoon of all time, but it's definitely up there. It took me a while to really get into this show, but when I did, I was really into it. I love everything about this show, and it produced so many great episodes, both purely comedic episodes and episodes that are part of a story arc. With that being said, you can imagine how difficult it was for me to make this list, but I somehow managed to do it. Now, I am keeping in mind that Adventure Time is still putting out new episodes, and if any new episodes come out that I think will replace another one on the list, I will probably revise the list sometime in the future. I'm going to talk briefly about each of these episodes because I might give them a full-fledged review sometime in the future. Now with all that out of the way, let's start going through the list, shall we? This is the perfect episode to kick off the list with. I like the story of this episode. Finn tries to take it a step further with Flame Princess, but Princess Bubblegum keeps telling him it's a bad idea, whereas Jake keeps egging him on. If you haven't seen the episode, I'm not going to spoil what ends up happening, but this is a sweet episode. It's also pretty funny and contains 3 of my favorite Adventure Time moments of all time. I'd show a clip of all 3, but again, if you haven't seen the episode, I don't want to spoil everything for you. But I will spoil this one thing.
Baking pancakes, making bacon pancakes. Take some bacon and I'll put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancake.
Boy, did this episode throw me for a loop the first time I saw it. This episode takes place during the Cretaceous period, long before the Great Mushroom War. This episode follows Wizard Evergreen and his apprentice, Gunter. If you're seeing some kind of connection here, good, because that's the point. Anyway, this episode is just unbelievable, to say the least. I didn't get a firm grasp of it the first time I saw it, but the more times I watched the episode, the more I enjoyed its story and characters. This is definitely an episode you have to check out for yourself. This is an obscure choice to put on the list if I do say so myself, but I don't know. I always felt some kind of connection with this episode. I guess I just admire how determined Finn is in this episode. Whenever someone tells him there's only one way to do something, he wants to prove them wrong, and he proceeds to do things his way. That definitely adds an admirable quality to Finn's character if you ask me, because he refuses to give up, even if he is a bit of a dick in this episode.
Hey, listen, man. The smelly pat's actually not that bad.
No! I choose my way! My way.
This is a bit of a touching episode. Finn starts wondering if he really is the only human left in the world, and that's a bit heartbreaking because you can only imagine how Finn must feel on the inside. He must feel like he's alone because he doesn't know if there are any other humans left in existence. He doesn't really show it on the outside, but the tone of his voice speaks for itself in a couple moments of this episode. But when they meet Susan Strong, Finn seems to be in a much better mood. I also enjoy Susan's character. She's not all that intelligent, but she's a fun character, and I always look forward to seeing an episode that she appears in. The episode has an ending that I definitely wasn't expecting the first time I saw it, but if you haven't seen it yet, I'll let you find out what it is on your own. I had to put at least one fun episode on the list. I always enjoyed episodes of any cartoon that features the characters playing a card game that's at least somewhat similar to Yu-Gi-Oh! All Grown Up, The Emperor's New School, and Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi also have episodes like this, and I'm a fan of each of those episodes. But in all honesty, I think Card Wars takes the cake on those types of episodes, mostly because unlike the episodes of a similar nature from those shows I previously mentioned, the game played in this episode was actually made into a real thing. This episode spawned both a mobile game and an actual card game, both of which I have played and love. If an episode can spawn a new card game in 2 different formats, mind you, then I think it's safe to say that it's the best episode of its kind. But this episode also features one of my favorite Adventure Time moments of all time.
I flipped the pig.
This is another fun episode in my opinion. This episode has an interesting plot which involves Ice King accidentally hiring a hitman to kill Finn and Jake. This episode has some pretty funny moments and it's definitely a must-see one. After a couple of fun episodes, it's time for another touching and dramatic one. This is part 1 of a 2-part episode, in which the second part appears in the middle of Season 5. This episode is interesting because it starts out funny.
Gunter, why did you goont my fries? I goonted them, and they were mine.
But then it starts to get more and more serious as the episode progresses. It ends on a very heartfelt note, but it's one that you're gonna have to see for yourself if you haven't already. You want to talk about interesting episodes? This is one of them. This was a great episode story-wise, as well as the fact that an interesting character was introduced.
Hi, Goliad. I'm Finn.
And I'm Jake.
Hi, Finn. Hi, Jake.
Hi, Goliad.
Hi, Finn.
Unfortunately, this was the only episode Goliad was featured in, at least for now, but I know I would love to see her again in the future. I've talked about touching episodes and moments, but this one takes the cake as far as that goes. This is that part 2 episode to I Remember You that I mentioned earlier. This is a flashback episode that gives you a glimpse into the story of Marceline and Ice King long before they became the characters that we all know and love. This is a very touching and heartwarming episode, not to mention it references one of the best sitcom theme songs ever.
Do, 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 do. Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Before I get to the number 1 choice, I'm going to start a new thing with these top 10 lists. I'm going to start throwing in a few honorable mentions because I feel like I could add a little length to my videos, and I also feel like I leave some things out that I really want to talk about in these lists. So here are a few honorable mentions. This is an episode that features a great song and a nice story. Adventure Time has a few episodes in different animation styles, but this one is the trippiest in my opinion. I love it when background and supporting characters get the spotlight, and Root Beer Guy is one of my personal favorite one of those characters. This is a fun episode that brings 5 main characters together to retrieve things that were stolen from them. It also has its comedic moments. Now that I got those out of the way, let's get to my favorite episode of Adventure Time. I feel like this episode is a bit of a hidden gem. It's the second episode that features Flame Princess, but it's what really starts her relationship with Finn. This is a very relatable episode in my opinion because Finn becomes infatuated with a girl he just met and is convinced he has a huge crush on her and he just wants to talk to her and get to know her. It's because of that relatability that this is my favorite episode of the show. Well, that and the fact that Neptune makes his first appearance in Season 1 in this episode.
You cannot tell, but I am giving a thumbs up.
Thank you guys so much for watching this list. A lot of thought had to go into it in order for me to get the order of this list right. Since Adventure Time is one of my favorite cartoons, it was very hard for me to pick only 10 episodes, which is also why I added a few honorable mentions. By the way, let me know if you guys want me to continue doing that for future top 10 lists. Remember, it's not my channel, it's our channel. So let me know if you guys have any video ideas. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.